So look at Anthony Ryder from South Lyon, Michigan, recently selected as the Lions 2020 Fan of the Year. He has a passion about sports broadcasting.
With the 112th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, USC. One pride, baby! Yeah!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Free agency is very nearly upon us, opening up in just a couple of hours by the time this video is released to you guys. And with that being the case, with free agency fastly approaching, of course, over the last week or so, there's going to be a ton of news and a ton of rumors about guys that are being re-signed by the Lions, guys that want to be re-signed by the Lions, and of course, free agents that the Lions may be interested in when the free agent market officially opens. So today we have a lot of news and a lot of rumor, everything from re-signed players, interested players, and even a player that was released from the team. There's a ton of information and a ton of stuff that went on over the last week within the Lions organization, and today we are going over all of it. Starting off with the re-signings. The Lions were very busy last week when it came to re-signing their up-and-coming free agents, starting the week off by signing Josh Reynolds, the #1 wide receiver from a season ago, at least in the latter half of the season, signing him to a 2-year, $6 million contract. Now, Jared Goff and Josh Reynolds were 3-0 as a duo to end the season. In the final 3 games that they were both healthy and playing in versus the Minnesota Vikings, the Arizona Cardinals, and of course the Green Bay Packers, they went 3-0, and they actually finished the season 3-1, but Josh Reynolds did not play versus the Denver Broncos in that loss. So when you really look at it, when they both got comfortable in the Lions offense, once the play calling actually got good, this duo actually finished 3-0 against 2 10-plus win teams in the 2021 NFL season. Now, Josh Reynolds' contract is a really good one for the Detroit Lions. Josh Reynolds expected to be a wide receiver 2 next year alongside Amon-Ra St. Brown, and likely either a drafted or free agency signing at the wide receiver position for that traditional dominant X-wide receiver. But Josh Reynolds last year was a very, very good player. Gave Jared Goff a lot of confidence and really helped unlock the deep part of this passing game for the Detroit Lions offense. Now, his contract is very, very team friendly, only having a $2 million cap hit in 2022 and only having a $4 million cap hit in 2023. Now, he has $4 million in incentives to earn, meaning his contract could eventually become upwards of $10 million. But as of right now, and as far as cap hits and stuff like that, his cap hit is only $2 million in 2022 and $4 million in 2023. And if you ask me, for a wide receiver that unlocked the Lions' deep game a season ago, and for a wide receiver that makes Jared Goff a better football player, $6 million over 2 years is not a bad contract at all. It brings you in a really good wide receiver, somebody that, again, makes your quarterback really comfortable, somebody that really clicked in the Lions' offense a season ago, and overall just brings back a really good player on an even better price. Now, the Lions also had a lot to do last week when it came to re-signing tendered exclusive free agents, and they re-signed 13 of them. Now, I'm not going to go over each and every individual player, but I'm going to give you the highlights of the players that were included in these 13 exclusive rights free agents. Now, this included Scott Daly, the starting long snapper, Jack Fox, the starting punter, Riley Patterson, the starting kicker, Godwin Igwebuike, the starting kick and punt returner, Tommy Kramer and Matt Nelson, both of whom started and played significant time on the offensive line from a season ago, Anthony Pittman, a really good, solid depth linebacker who had a phenomenal preseason a year ago, Bobby Price, the really athletic cornerback that the Lions coaching staff really seems to like, again, took some starting snaps at the cornerback position when they faced injuries at that spot, and Brock Wright, the undrafted free agent from a season ago, took over as the tight end 1 once TJ Hawkinson did get hurt. Once TJ Hawkinson, his season was over with his hand injury, I believe, Brock Wright was the tight end to step up and really, grow and thrive in an expanded role in the Detroit Lions offense, having 2 touchdowns, one in a really clean seam bowl versus the Minnesota Vikings, and having his second career touchdown be one of the difference makers to open the second half versus the Green Bay Packers in Week 18. So all those players were re-signed. They were exclusive rights free agents, meaning the Lions had the opportunity to re-sign them, and those free agents really didn't have a choice. If the Lions wanted to keep them, they were going to keep them, and if not, they were going to have to walk, but no other team could offer them a contract until the Detroit Lions actually officially said they weren't going to re-sign these guys. But again, they decided to bring back 13 of these exclusive right free agents, including our entire special teams, Fox, Patterson, Daly, and Igwebuike, bringing back some really good depth linemen, and of course, a really, really solid diamond in the rough tight end from last year's class. Now, the Lions very recently, as early as yesterday, also signed safety CJ Moore to a 1-year, $2.4 million contract, but just like Josh Reynolds, a lot of this contract is based off of incentives, as only $800,000 of his contract is guaranteed, and not very much of it is going to count towards the cap over the next season. The Lions also have a ton of money to spend, so it's not really a bad move to sign one of your special teams aces and one of your special team stars. Last year came away with an interception in the final game against Jordan Love, and overall for the last 4-5 years has been one of the aces of the Detroit Lions special teams. I think it's a really good move to keep CJ Moore around. Maybe a little expensive at first glance, right? 1 year, $2.4 million for a safety that very rarely sees the field on the defensive side of the ball. But again, you're talking about a potential special teams captain, somebody that works hard, somebody that has really good speed and really good tackling for the special teams. It's a good move by the Detroit Lions as long as the cap isn't super huge. But again, only $800,000 of it is guaranteed, and even less of that will likely go towards a cap hit. With that being the case, those are all the players the Lions have re-signed so far. And with that being said, there are only a few major contributors from a season ago that are not under contract, namely Tracy Walker, Charles Harris, and Alex Anzalone, as well as, of course, Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Those 4 are really the only 4 players left that the Detroit Lions have not re-signed that could be expected to be brought back to the Detroit Lions. Jalen Reeves-Maybin having a really good breakout season on the defensive side of the ball a season ago. Alex Anzalone, again, the defensive captain, the heart and soul of the Detroit Lions defense from a season ago, has not yet been brought back, but it has been said that he and the Detroit Lions are in discussions for an extension, are in talks for a contract extension, and that he wants to come back and the Lions want to bring him back. So it's a mutual feeling. They both want to reunite next season, and right now they're in discussions to work out another extension for a contract. Hopefully this time maybe a little bit longer than a 1-year deal. Tracy Walker has also been said that he wants to come back to the Lions, and the Lions want him to return as their starting safety, but the contract has yet to be worked out, although I would expect that to also be worked out before free agency officially hits tonight or later today. I'm recording this on Sunday afternoon, so if there is news to come out, I will put it up as a post, and I will put it in this part of the editing process. But as of right now, these players have not yet been re-signed. Charles Harris is somebody that was very iffy, somebody that is going to command a lot of money for a 1-year wonder. You might expect Brad Holmes to bring him back as being Brad Holmes' first real big hit in the free agent market, but they could also let him walk, get a lot of money somewhere else, and get a conditional pick in the 2023 NFL draft. Either way, the Lions are benefiting from Charles Harris at this point in time. But of those 4 players, only 2 of them, from what I've been hearing, are officially in contract negotiations with the Detroit Lions, being Alex Anzalone and Tracy Walker. But another player that is talking about a contract extension is Evan Brown, the center that started a majority of the Detroit Lions game in 2021 after Frank Ragnow was injured. He played really well in his first ever career start versus the Minnesota Vikings. Actually had a phenomenal game versus Aaron Donald and the Los Angeles Rams, and played very, very good football for a large majority of the season while the Lions missed on Frank Ragnow. Right, he had that foot injury, couldn't return after week 5. Evan Brown took over and played really, really well, and I would expect him to get a pretty decent contract to come back to be the Detroit Lions center. And if he doesn't, if they don't end up working out a contract, I could see him realistically going somewhere and starting for maybe not the best line in the NFL, right? He's not going to be a Ragnow or a Creed Humphrey, but he can be a lower end starter at the center position in the NFL. So if the Lions don't end up re-signing him, they could potentially see a complimentary pick from Evan Brown as well. Now moving on to free agency, there's a ton of rumors about free agents that the Lions are looking to be interested in as soon as the free agency market opens, the biggest of which is Allen Robinson. It's been reported on numerous times that the Lions are expected to be all in the wide receiver market and are expected to go all in on Allen Robinson this offseason and are expected to land Allen Robinson to be the number 1 X wide receiver. Allen Robinson had 3 1,000-yard seasons in his career, including back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in 2019 and 2020. He is just 29 years old, and after a down year, a lot of people are off the Allen Robinson hype train. But if you look at his stats from a season ago, as far as targets, as far as receptions, as far as, different things, and you take into account that he had 3 different quarterbacks throwing him the ball, 2 of whom really didn't have any chemistry after training camp, and all 3 of them of whom rotated around constantly throughout the NFL season, and the fact that he played on an injured ankle all year long really speaks to why his season wasn't as productive as many people thought it would be. Allen Robinson from a season ago had just 66 targets in 12 games, whereas in 2019 and 2020, Allen Robinson had over 150 targets. That is nearly a third of the targets that he was used to seeing in 2019 and 2020, and he still put up over 400 yards. You triple 400 yards, that is 1,200 receiving yards on the season, which is right around what Allen Robinson would average every single year with the Chicago Bears. And even with that being the case, and you could say, okay, but he didn't get those targets, he didn't get those receptions. Allen Robinson had every reason to fail in the NFL a season ago. A bad ankle, bad offensive play calling, wasn't focused on the offense, wasn't a focal point in the offense, I should say, and Justin Fields had no chemistry with him. Justin Fields had no trust in him. Justin Fields didn't work with him in the offseason. So when Justin Fields took over, Allen Robinson wasn't his guy. Nick Foles wasn't really Allen Robinson's guy. And then, of course, you have Andy Dalton, who started the season and rotated in every once in a while, right? They started with Andy, then they went to Justin Fields, then they went to Nick Foles even for a little while, and then they went back to, back and forth with all these guys. They rotated between 2 and 3 different quarterbacks at points in the season. So Allen Robinson had 0 chemistry with these quarterbacks, had 0 opportunity to get on the same page with these guys, and was playing on a bad ankle, which is part of the reason he struggled a season ago to create separation at the same level that he did in seasons prior. His separation rate was more than half a yard worse last season than it was the previous 2 seasons, where he had over 1,100 receiving yards. And on a healthy ankle, Allen Robinson's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. On a healthy, 100% healthy player, Allen Robinson is a top 15, top 20 wide receiver in the NFL. He's a guy that commands your defense to double team him. He's somebody that can hurt you on every single down, is somebody that needs to be a focal point of your offense, and is somebody that the defense needs to game plan around every single week. Now, the Lions, again, are reportedly expected to go all in on Allen Robinson, and as long as they don't overpay, as long as they don't really give him too much money, like I'm talking $20 million a year, if they give him that, then it would be a bad contract. But if they can get anywhere between $12, $15 million for Allen Robinson yearly, that would be a good deal for a great wide receiver that could really complete the Detroit Lions offense and allow them to focus defensively very, very heavily in the NFL draft. Now, the Lions are also reportedly being very interested in Bobby Wagner. They are reportedly one of the 12 plus teams interested in the 6-time first team All-Pro. But in my opinion, I don't think Bobby Wagner is going to be very interested in the Detroit Lions. He just doesn't seem like he's the kind of player that would want to come to a rebuild. He's an older linebacker, I believe 31, 32 years old at this point. Has played a lot of football, has been to the playoffs many times, has been to the Super Bowl twice, and has a Super Bowl ring. I think he was going to want that Super Bowl. I think he's going to want to go to a contender. And honestly, I don't think it's the right move for the Lions anyway, because yeah, Bobby Wagner's a great player, but he's not going to be in the long-term plans. And honestly, if you're that old, right, Bobby Wagner probably has a couple years left on his deal, couple years left to play football at a really, really high level. Yeah, I think he could be a good mentor for somebody like Derek Barnes, but I wouldn't spend big money on Bobby Wagner just because it doesn't really feel like it would fit with what the Detroit Lions are doing. Whereas Allen Robinson's only 29. Allen Robinson has been very productive for a very long time, and I think still has a lot more left in him, more so than Bobby Wagner does at linebacker. And personally, I just think that it makes more sense for the Lions to stay away from Bobby Wagner unless he really wants to come here and be a mentor for the next generation. But again, just like Allen Robinson, it has to be for the right price. And then the last free agent, big time free agent, that the Lions have been reportedly interested in is, of course, Marcus Williams, the safety from the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Saints freed up nearly $20 million in cap space by restructuring Marshawn Lattimore's contract, and this could very well be to pitch an offer to Marcus Williams. But I don't think Marcus Williams is going to take it. They couldn't work out a deal last year. They franchise tagged him and brought him back for a year. I think Marcus Williams is on the move, and honestly, Detroit seems like a really, really possible location. Coming back to reunite with Aaron Glenn and Dan Campbell, coming back to be the starting caliber safety, the top 10 caliber safety that he is in the NFL. Pairing him with Tracy Walker could be huge, allowing them again to focus not only defensively in the draft, but to really hone in on Kayvon Thibodeaux or Aiden Hutchinson in this class, not having to worry about missing on the generational talent of Kyle Hamilton because they already have a top 10 safety in Marcus Williams. I think they're either going to sign Williams and pass on Hamilton, or they're going to pass on Williams and draft Hamilton. I think there's only one way that this goes. Maybe they do both if they can't end up re-signing Tracy Walker, because a safety duo of Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams would be electric and would be amazing for the Lions secondary. But honestly, I don't see that possibility really coming about. And the Lions, they do have a ton of money. They did release Trey Flowers. They did free up nearly $10.5 million at the very least to go out and sign a big-time free agent that they otherwise wouldn't be able to afford. And honestly, I think it makes sense to target these guys, right? Marcus Williams is only 25 years old. Allen Robinson is only 29 years old. These guys still have a lot of football left to play, and these guys can come in and be big-time contributors for the Detroit Lions next season. And in the case of Marcus Williams, be here 5-10 years in the future and be that veteran safety that is here very much long term and is here for the majority of the Detroit Lions rebuild. So with all that being said, that is life for you guys today. That is the biggest news and rumors. That is all of the news and rumors to have come out over the past week. Again, free agency is set to begin very, very soon. So before it does, go down in the comments below. First off, go down and subscribe if you have not done so already. A little bit of a sellout, but hey, what are you going to do? Go down and subscribe if you have not already, and leave a comment on what free agent you want to see the Detroit Lions sign the most. But with all that being said, that is life for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching, and until next time, and as always, go Lions.